Okay, parents, I have some fun ideas to share with you today. So I hope you like them. I've got my lucky dot shirt on, and it's a little clue as to what we might be doing today. Are you looking for new ways to play with your child to get them to exercise when they don't really want to do it? Well, this game I'm going to tell you about today is a perfect way to take the pressure off of you and put the power in their own hands. Hi, my name is Amy Baez, Pediatric occupational therapist and founder of Playapy, and I am here today to provide you with some playful solutions and powerful results. Today, I want to talk to you about an activity that I call the dice game. Now, this is a game that obviously involves a pair of dice, but it's a really great way to get kids to get moving and exercising, but it doesn't make them feel like they're being forced to do something in particular. So, what you're doing is letting the dice that you roll decide what exercise is going to be performed. This is an activity that I use a lot as a warm up for kids. I want to get them up and moving, get them regulated so that they can work on other activities that might be fine motor or sitting down at a table. Before they do that, I like to warm them up with some nice gross motor activity, and that's why this is called the dice game gross motor. Now, if you're not familiar with what gross motor means, that basically means you're using the large muscles of the body, and not so large, but you get the point. And you're using your arms and your legs, back muscles, things like that, instead of the little fine motors, hand muscles. So I want to show you some examples of what you can do with this simple activity. First, I want to show you some different versions of dice. You can use something very simple like this, that is a small piece of die. You can use maybe something that's a little bit larger than normal. That can be fun too. Or if you don't have one, you can easily make a die. This is something that I created just from using cardboard that I had, and it took me about less than 10 minutes to make this die. You just basically cut even squares. This is about a 4-inch just to give you some perspective, and then you just create the dots all one on each side. Now, what's really great about this is you can do anything with it. You can put stickers and maybe use their different characters that they like, or put stars, whatever you want to do. It's a nice creative way for you to incorporate a fine motor activity with your child and get them to make things and learn how to repurpose as well. So if you don't have a pair of die to use, you can also just simply make one. Okay, so before we get started, and I'm going to explain to you a little bit more about how this game works, I want you to know that it has a simple worksheet. Now I'm going to attach a link that has a nice color, beautiful version of this, but if you just have a simple black and white printer, you can just print this out, and this is going to be your guide on how to play this game. Now here's how the dice game works. It's pretty easy. You're going to have a pair of dice, and you're going to roll them, and then you're going to decide how many dots you have. So obviously you're going to have between 2 and 12 dots if you're rolling a pair of dice. You're going to match up that number to the picture corresponding and the exercise that you will be doing. If you roll 2 5s, you have 10 dots. And therefore, according to this game, you're going to do 10 jumping jacks. The number of dots tells you the exercise, and the number of dots also tells you how many reps you're going to do of that activity. Ooh, did you see that? Snake eyes. Now, the way that I designed this particular version is really great for kids who already have certain skills. So they should be old enough that they can jump and that they can follow directions and count, and also that they can do some little bit of balancing. So this is not necessarily for kids who are maybe 3 or younger. This is for kids who are at least 4 and older. The reason why is because you're going to do some exercises that are very typical for them, but it may not be necessarily very difficult. For example, we do have push-ups and sit-ups listed as part of these exercises, but they don't have to do too many reps of them. So it doesn't have to be too strenuous or too difficult for kids to do. Now, what's great about this type of activity also is that you don't have to use my examples. You can create your own version of this game and put whatever exercises you really enjoy doing or want your child to practice. So you basically just need 6 exercises if you are doing one diet and 11 exercises if you're doing 2 diets. So we have several examples of jumping in this game. We have jumps forwards versus jumps backwards versus jumps in place. So that's pretty easy if you understand that. So you're going to jump forward or jump backward or jump in place. Another activity in here is spins. Now, it's important to note that spins can involve movement that can be overstimulating. So I try to encourage them not to spin too fast and to maybe use a focal point if they're a child that gets dizzy really easily. But there's only 6 dots for spins, so you're not going to go more than 6 times. Now, sometimes you may roll a die and it lands on the same number again. Well, guess what? They're going to do the activity again. It's perfectly fine if they do it more than one time. However, if they roll this for the spins more than a couple of times, you may want to cheat that one. Another activity on here is snow angels. Now, you're probably really familiar with this one. You basically have your child lay down on the floor, make that big X position, and then coordinate the arms opening and closing, just like you would do snow angels in the ground. Now, one of the most questions I get asked about these exercises is one called half kneels. Now, this sounds pretty obvious, but for some people they need a demonstration. So basically, you would have your child stand with their arms up in the air, and then you're going to have them kneel down onto one knee. Then they're going to lift themselves back up. Now they can do the same leg repeatedly, or they can switch back and forth between legs. I think it's really important for them though to keep those arms up in the air. And that is because that is going to really help them to use those core muscles to rise themselves up and balance themselves. Plus, you're going to see how well they're able to disassociate that upper body from that lower body. Jumping jacks is a really common activity, and you'll see that here on this list. It's pretty self-explanatory for most people, but if you're not familiar with it, you're going to stand in your big X, and then you're going to open and close. Now, some kids are taught jumping jacks differently. They may have it be where they are having their arms up, and then they have to close them down, or they may do it another way. So it doesn't really have to be specific to any particular way. Just have them do whatever jumping jacks that you want them to do. Now, one of the most fun exercises on this sheet for me is hip shakes. Now, a lot of people are like, what's that? Well, this is an opportunity for you to just kind of put something fun in there. It may not seem like they are doing an exercise, but it's kind of like dancing, and it's exactly how it sounds. You're gonna have your hands up in the air, and you're going to shake those hips from side to side. And there you have it. Those are all the exercises that are on the gross motor list for the dice game. Now I want to show you just a little bit example of how it is to play the dice game. So this is an activity that you can really do on the floor with your child. You can roll the dice across the room and see what you get. And then you're going to figure out how to calculate how many dots you have. So if I roll the dice here, I start out, I get number 7. So I'm going to jump forward 7 times. And I roll the dice again. Oh, this time I got 5. I got to do 5 sit-ups. Right? Now we have number 7 again. So if I get 7 again, I'm going to jump again 7 times. Here I had, oh, it changed, but I had a 4. So 4 would be jumps backwards 4 times. And number 11, my favorite, the hip shakes. As you're playing this game, you can take turns. You can be going while your child can go the next turn. You can involve multiple people into this game. You can have the whole family play. It's a great, simple way for you to get some exercise and have fun at the same time. Hi, Kitty. Even Kitty wants to play. When I'm playing this game with kids, I really like to make sure that they do multiple trials. I try to play at least 12 rounds of rolling the dice. And if they can't tolerate that, I usually try to get in at least 6. So that gives you a nice range of how much you should be doing this. 6 to 12 trials is a good amount of time to feel like you participated in something without being too easy and without over strenuously exerting someone. Now, of course, you can do a lot more than that if they really have the energy to do it. But if not, it helps you to just get an idea of what is a nice warm-up activity. So I hope you found this video helpful. If you do, please do me a favor and like this video. You can also subscribe to this channel so I can create more activities for you. But you can also leave a comment down below if that is something that you want to do. You will see there is also the worksheet. Please print it out so that you can use it. And if you have any other creative games that you want to share with us, please do so, or activities for this exercise.